Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. This is the 2021 Volvo S60 T5 we're going to take a look at today. And it's on loan to me from my friends at Volvo Cars of Shreveport, Home's Volvo Cars of Shreveport. And for 2021, there aren't any major changes, but one of the changes you will find is that there are upgraded LED headlights and automatic high beams. This is a compact sedan, although it is reasonably roomy. I mean, when you hear the word compact, you tend to think of a small vehicle, but when you sit down in the interior of the S60, it actually feels pretty large. And that's one of the great advantages of this car, is that the comfort level of the interior is very, very nice. It also has good acceleration, considering the fact that this is definitely not a large engine in this vehicle. It is a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and considering the fact that the engine under the hood is just a 2-liter 4-cylinder, it's a turbocharged engine, and I will put the engine or the numbers on the screen as far as horsepower, torque, gas mileage, all that kind of stuff. It actually has surprisingly great acceleration, and as funny as it might sound, it also has really great braking as well. I haven't tested that necessarily, but just in my driving experience, the brakes just seem to work really well. They're not overly aggressive and they're not underly tuned, so to speak. There are a lot of great safety features, of course, driving aids. I'll list those on the screen for you. And if you're looking for a vehicle that has a reasonable amount of cargo space, well, let's take a look on the inside here of the trunk. There is a reasonable amount of cargo space here, and as you can see, there's even a pass-through there into the back seat. If you just wanted to let that down to put whatever you can get to fit in there, well, that would work just fine. There is your pass-through right there. And you can open the pass-through. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. If you put that back up, the pass-through is open. Then you can just use the pass-through right there. And you can also, of course, let the seats down if you want to maximize cargo space. And so a lot of good advantages there. And when you look under the floor here in the trunk, there's something that I know everybody likes to see, because I know all of you have told me that in my videos in the past. It is a spare tire. No spare tire repair kit on this S60. And as you can see, it does have dual exhaust, and the interior actually looks quite luxurious. It's as funny as it sounds. Riding around in this car kind of reminds me of some of the cars of years gone by. And one of the good things about that is that as I look at everything here, of course, you've got the cup holders and the armrest and all that good stuff, but the cars of years gone by were a lot more comfortable than some of our modern day cars. This one is kind of a throwback in a way. So anyway, you might notice right here, no air conditioning vents on the rear of the console, but that's because they're on the panels here right in front of the doors. So you've got dual air conditioning vents essentially back here. It's not a huge interior, so that's very helpful actually. You've got some little storage, not really pockets so much, but I guess those are nets. You've got some small storage bins there on the doors, and a little bit right here, and also a couple of USB ports. Hopefully you can see those with the head mount. Now let me kind of get down here just a little bit. Up here is the panoramic sunroof. Of course, you can open that. And that's a very nice feature. I have it open right now as far as that there is a shade here. But ultimately, I think that's a very nice piece added to this car that gives it a little bit of additional luxury. Of course, we'll step back here before we hop into the front seat. A lot of nice bells and whistles and different features here, technology that would definitely be useful for anybody who wants this vehicle. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you real quick, I know almost every time I hop into one of these vehicles, here's what happens. I'm looking for the button on the dashboard here for auto start, for the push button start, Well, it's not there. It's down here. This is it. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake, and I just started the vehicle. So that's actually the switch. It's not really a button. And then let's see here. Let's go in and we'll go here. Okay, we're going to cancel that. And we'll get into the screen in just a minute here. But we'll just go over everything that's here. Of course, you have just a regular shifter right here. And if you want to shift manually, you can push that over. You can see on the diagram right here, park, reverse, neutral, and drive. And then you can see that you can push it over here. And I'll show you on the dashboard, as I bump the shifter, you're going to see that the gears are going to change. And we'll go back to first right there and put it back in park. And of course you do have a backup camera, which every vehicle in this day and age, at least in the United States of America, does have that. And I like the fact that for the driver, as you can see on the dashboard, you've got navigation right here. So you don't have to look over to the screen to see navigation, and not anything really unusual, but just a nice feature to see. Of course, let's make that a little bit easier for you to see. Hopefully that makes that a little bit better. The steering wheel is fully adjustable. It is manually adjustable, but it is adjustable nonetheless. And you have voice commands, and of course you can control the radio and the station, the volume, all that kind of stuff. Everything here just typical kind of steering wheel mounted controls, and actually a very comfortable steering wheel. I like the contrast of the interior here. Tell me what you think about this design, the pattern here on these seats. I'm very curious to know. And of course, everything you would expect here. You've got your power locks and windows. You do have seat memory, 2 different settings for that, depending on what you might want. And yes, there are a lot of safety features. I've listed those on the screen already. One of the main things that I see on these vehicles that a lot of people talk about is that the center screen is frustrating to use, and I just don't really see that. I think it's very simple to use, actually. So let's just take a look. You've got your current position here, and then let's click right here and take a look at what you get. You get quite a nice little menu of different things that you might want to know about cities and lodging, and if you needed to go to a repair center of some sort, which hopefully you wouldn't have to do with this car, but it's, you know, where I am, where my location is, it might be a little bit slow to respond. So if you want to go back to your previous screen, that's what this little button right here is for. So I'm just going to click on that. That's going to take us back to the previous screen. And you do have a few different options here as far as what you can do. And then if you want to go back to the main screen, that's how you do that. Of course, you can control the radio right there. We can go back again. I don't have a phone paired right now. Not a big deal, but again, a very simplistic thing to use, and no device connected, so it's not going to give me that information. But as far as the air conditioner goes, here's how you control that. And I do realize a lot of people would probably like to have maybe some controls here. You've got controls for the radio right here if you want to use those, but you can just leave this up on the screen. It's not a big deal necessarily. I find it rather easy to use. You can use auto climate, and you can adjust the fan speed accordingly. You can click on the temperature right there, and that's how you adjust the temperature. But everything is done through the infotainment screen here in this vehicle. But honestly, I find that it's really not that difficult to use. And if you want to, of course, you can go to this screen. You have even more options here, and you can go in and look at a lot of things. You can connect Bluetooth. It's a very simplistic system to use here. And of course you can scroll back and forth just like I did like there if you want to as well. And of course everything is controlled here for the power roof here, or the power panoramic sunroof I should say. That's now opened. And very easy. Of course I'll give you a quick look at what that looks like with the shade closed. But let's get out on the road and really see what this vehicle is all about, because it is actually quite a joy to drive. Now, in all fairness, before I move on, let's take a quick little look here at some things I didn't cover earlier. Of course, you've got the 12-volt power outlet right here. There's your start-stop button, basically, or ignition, I should say. And if you want to go and change your driving modes, here's how you do that. You're going to push down on this drive mode selector right here, and there are your driving modes. I'm going to push that on that. You've got Eco, you've got Comfort, and you have Dynamic. So actually 3 different driving modes. We're going to select Dynamic. I drove in Comfort mode earlier and found that the vehicle actually is very enjoyable to drive in that particular mode. But I would imagine that it's probably going to be a little more sporty in Dynamic mode. So let's hop out on the road and find out. Now, I said this car had good acceleration, so as soon as we get past the firefighters here, we will get on it just a little bit. Not a super powerful vehicle, but I'm going to tell you what, the acceleration is surprisingly good. And like I said, the brakes work well too. Just something that I noticed in the reviews that I read. I did say it had good braking, and the thing I like about that is a lot of vehicles, when you drive them, basically what happens is the brakes are one of 2 ways, but usually never in between. They're either soft or they're overly aggressive. In this particular vehicle, I have found there seems to be quite a nice balance. The brake pedal is a little bit soft, but honestly that doesn't seem to affect anything. So we're going to hop out here on the road, and like I said, you can put this vehicle into the move the shifter over and shift by hand if you want to. So that's essentially what I'm doing, and not really necessarily noticing a difference in the car's performance, but at the same time, you know, if you want to have a little bit of fun in Dynamic mode, or really that will work in any mode, whether it's Eco or Comfort or Dynamic, you can use that feature where you push the shifter over and shift it by hand. But just something that I guess is meant to give this car kind of a sporty feel to it. Now, the road that we're on right now, I travel this road quite a bit. If you watch me regularly, this is one of my regular test drive routes. And this road is nice and smooth, but it gives a good idea of what it would be like to take a road trip in this particular vehicle. And I have to say, it's very comfortable, it's very smooth. I find myself just at ease as I drive here. It's not a difficult car to drive. The steering is nice and responsive, and it helps that, of course, the steering wheel itself is comfortable. So overall, the driving experience of this vehicle is quite an enjoyable experience. And of course, I like the layout of the dashboard. I like the fact that you do have a digital speedometer there. You have a few different options you can use there, of course. And as you can see, it's going to give you the speed limit sign and let you know if you exceed the speed limit, which I tend to make that thing flash a lot when I'm driving in vehicles that have this particular option. But hey, we've got to show you what they can do in the test drives. But you know, personally, for being a smaller sedan, this is listed as a compact sedan, kind of surprising because it seems more like it would be in the mid-size category just for the way it feels here in the interior. But overall, it's just comfortable, it's enjoyable to drive. The interior is spacious. It would be kind of interesting to see what it would be like to have some other people in the vehicle. But as you can see, accelerating is just not a problem. It gets down the road just fine. Even with the smaller 4-cylinder engine, it's not hurting for horsepower. I'm just kind of cruising around without really pushing the pedal too hard. And I have found that if you want to really take advantage of what power is available, flooring it isn't really the best way to do it. You can actually just ease into the gas pedal, and it tends to just kind of give you a little bit better acceleration that way. That's what I'm doing right now, just easing into it. Probably just a little more than I needed to right there, but just showing you what it can do. But I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a vehicle for somebody that maybe doesn't have a huge family, or maybe a single person, you're going to be taking a lot of road trips, something that gets good gas mileage, but at the same time, it's comfortable, it's going to have more than enough room for whatever you need to carry cargo-wise, and it's gonna get you down the road with no problem. It's gonna accelerate decently well. In fact, it accelerates very well. And let's just see here. I'm gonna go through the corner here. I am doing a little bit around the speed limit, but let's see here. Actually, the body roll is quite minimal. Trying to avoid hitting anything in the road here, but I'll tell you what, that was actually quite impressive. So hopefully this will help you if this is a vehicle you're looking for. And I do want to remind everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys, because when we hit 25,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a gift card to one of you for $250. Let me get my numbers right there. 25,000 subscribers, $250 Amazon gift card. And of course, when we hit 50,000 subscribers, that will be $500. I'm just going to keep going up from there. I can't wait for the day when I'm on the hook for $10,000 to somebody because we hit 1 million subscribers. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but maybe one day it will. But either way, we're just going to hit that at every little milestone. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate my friends at Holmes Volvo Cars here in Shreveport, Louisiana for loaning me this car for the day. And look forward to seeing you in my next video.